So it's been a very long time since I have been on a trip up north. So me and my mum went up north to see which city would be the best for us to move to. Since I did a Google search and I saw that Liverpool, Manchester and Sheffield would be the best areas for us work-wise, because me and my mum are both in the creative industries. I'm in the film industry and my mum is in the performing arts industry. And let me tell you now, it was one of the most stressful experiences that I have ever been in, because we had to do it all in 4 days. So me and my mum decided to go to Liverpool first. It was the most furthest away travel wise. It's about 205 miles from where I am at right now in Pulborough. It's fucking ridiculously long. It's about a fucking 6-hour drive. It's ridiculously fucking long. So we wanted to see if Liverpool would be a very great fit for us, both for like work-wise and mentally too. But Liverpool is mainly known for the biggest band of all time, the Beatles. Little bands would have not existed if the Beatles wasn't around, like Oasis, Blur and many more. So me and my mum went to see what would be the best way to travel into the city. Is it going to be on public transport? Is it going to be driving in? We got told by someone in the street not to drive in, go by the bus. So I looked on Google Maps where the bus stops were. There were like 2 bus stops on each direction of the street. And we asked the guy that we talked to where would be the best place to actually get the bus from. He said, get a bus near Tesco. It's not that far, it's just about 5 minutes up the street. When we got on the bus, I wanted to see how expensive public transport in Liverpool actually is. And we found out that it wasn't too expensive. It's just about £4 for 2 people. It's actually reasonably affordable. If I live in Liverpool in the future, I'll probably be travelling down by bus. With the like congestion fees and all that malarkey, it's fucking long as fuck. Well, I wondered why everyone was getting off the bus. I was like, okay, is this the last stop? So I went up to the bus driver and asked him, is this the last stop or are you going to the train station? He said, no mate, this is the last stop. The train station is up the street, which I thought was Liverpool Lime Street Station. It's the main station in Liverpool. Until I found out that there were 2 fucking train stations in the same street. I was like, what the fuck? They don't even have that in London. I think the closest I have ever been in was Oxford Circus, and I think it was Bank right nearby. We got off the bus and we went up the street. I saw Liverpool Central Station, which I thought was the main station in Liverpool, until I found out later that it wasn't. We went into Liverpool Central to see if we recognised it, and let me tell you, this now is the most fucking confusing train station I've ever been. It looked like a small shopping centre. What the fuck, bro? I think no train station other than in London has a small shopping centre in it. It had like a few cafes here and there which looked closed, and we wanted to see if we recognised it. I went down a little bit and I was like, I don't recognise this at all. There were like fucking barriers there, barriers there, barriers there, barriers there. Not even fucking ticket machine where you have that at every single station in the UK. So we got a little confused at this point. We wanted to see where the way out was. A freeway out, we wondered where it was going around the corner. That was the way we went out before. Came in actually. So we went round the corner and went up the stairs, and then we saw Paul McCartney's bar. We went into there. There was a little bit of a hotel venue which no staff was at. We were like a little bit confused by it. So we went into the actual pub and we legit found out that was the most quiet pub we have ever been in. It was legit lunchtime and was more fucking quiet than a rural pub near me at 3 PM on a Wednesday. Like, what the fuck, bro? We went around a little bit. There was a load of like artist pictures. We're like, okay, has any artists played here? We went up to the bar to see if anyone was there. There was no one there. We're like, okay, that's a little bit weird. So we went up to this lovely couple. We asked if the Beatles actually played here. They said no, this was like one of their favorite meeting spots. Like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then we walked up the street a little bit more, and then we saw Liverpool Lime Street Station. We're like, okay, I actually recognize this now. So we crossed the road and sat down for me to actually have a small sip of my drink, which was actually my snake, what I actually bought recently and wanted to change off me from drinking a lot of Monster. And we looked at over the road that there was this very nice building where we saw that Con was going to be on. We went over the road to actually look at it, see what it actually was. We went to the other side and we saw some gardens where my mum took a lot of pictures at. But then we went around the city for a little bit to see what was around the city. And I saw a guitar down that street. I was like, okay, is this a little bit like a bar? So we went down that street and found out that the Calvin Club in there, where it's made famous by the Beatles. If you know anything about the Calvin Club, it is now the top music venue in Liverpool. We also had breakfast in this wonderful Beatles themed cafe where it had a bunch of Fender guitars around it, but we found it was very interesting. After me and my mum had breakfast in that lovely Beatles themed cafe, we went down to the docks. I saw some skaters trying some tricks and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And we also saw this busker playing next to one of the famous Beatles statues. He was playing some really nice music. And then we wanted to go back to the Airbnb because it actually started raining and my camera bag was getting a little bit heavy at this point because it was actually like leaning back down on my back. So what are my general thoughts about Liverpool? I think Liverpool would be a really nice place to live in. It is around like a lot of areas like Birmingham, Manchester and Sheffield. They're about 30 miles between each other, which is quite good. But would I say it would be one of my choices to live in? Yes. Put down in the comments below if you have ever been to Liverpool. Tell me about your experience because I want to find out. So after Liverpool, me and my mum went up to Manchester. We didn't like Manchester at all because instantly when we drove in, we found out that was massively overbuilt with these really fat fucking skyscrapers, and it felt a lot like central London, which we didn't like at all. Public transport in Manchester is the most fucking confusing thing I've ever experienced in my life. It's more confusing than the London Underground system. Like, what the fuck, bro? We were trying to buy a ticket and I thought it was gonna be like a normal ticket system. It wasn't like that at all. I found out within 2 seconds that it was done by zones, and I was like, okay, this is a little bit weird. Also on the billboards as well, it didn't tell you what stations it was going to. So if you are a tourist in Manchester, I would not recommend going by tram at all unless you go with like a loop. Also, it took us about 10 minutes to figure out where we were going and what zones we were going in. I thought it would be like kind of cheap. I thought it would be like around about £2, £4 for me and my mum. And we found out that was ridiculously expensive and cost about £9 to go in. So once you get on the tram, the scenes on the tram are very nice. You get to see Manchester a little bit. And I also saw Manchester City's stadium, the Etihad Stadium, which is very nice. I wanted to get off there and look around the stadium a little bit, but I couldn't because I didn't have time and the money as well. But the tram was very bumpy and extremely uncomfortable. But once we got into the city centre, almost instantly we had two people stopping us for business discussions. One was this lovely Irish woman that worked for cancer research and told us some very interesting information about cancer research. And we also had this very nice young man that stopped us near the statue. He looked around about my age and worked for this gas company and told us that we were paying a little bit too much for our gas. And you don't want that because nowadays people are struggling to pay bills also as well. So after those discussions, we wanted to look around the city a little bit for affordable coffee until I found this lovely small cafe that was owned by people that looked around about my age. And let me tell you, the latte that I had in that cafe was one of the best lattes I've ever had in my life. It wasn't too strong, it had very nice texture, smooth in the mouth, and had the texture of Galaxy chocolate. And if you're ever in Manchester, I will find the coffee shop that I went to here. Then I saw this lovely looking waterfall down by this little bridge next to a car park. It looked like it was at the end of a canal, which we ended up walking down. I even saw this lovely yellow boat, and we wanted to find out what the canal was actually called in Manchester, and I think it was this notice right here, which I put some footage on it right here. We walked down to the main part of the canal, which looked very nice and had some lovely ducks. One of them looked like it was a little bit aggressive because any time you walked up to it, it's a little bit aggressive. Is it going to attack me? Is it not going to attack me? So I ended up walking past it and it was fine. Manchester seemed a little bit overbuilt for my liking. It was like very corporate heaven and a lot of people looked extremely stressed. The public transport is a little expensive, being £9 for me and my mum to travel into the city and back. It was also extremely confusing to use since we didn't know where we were going, no information on the billboards and no train information at one of the main stations where we were at. We even had to ask 3 staff members until we found out where we were going. Yeah, so after we went to Manchester, we went to Sheffield. So outside of Sheffield, where we were driving down, had this beautiful view which reminded me back when I was 9 when I went to holiday with my grandparents to Wales, and it legit looked like the mountains of Wales where we were going. So Sheffield generally is a really small city, which I found out when I was just traveling on the bus. So the other cities that we were in were on the bus about half an hour to like an hour. Where we were staying in our Airbnb, it wasn't that far from the city centre. We looked at the museum a little bit. We saw a little bit about the waterworks and some other parts of Sheffield, like the Sheffield's metal and cutlery industry. There were legit a knife in there from like 2018. I got older shit in my house, like in older than shit in that museum. And then we found the council building. My mum took a lot of pictures outside of it. So after that, my mum wanted to find out what parts of the university she actually went to. We found out that she went into the music block, which is actually quite an old building. So after that, we walked up to the church, which we thought was actually a normal church, and we actually found out was actually bought by the university. We went down to like the normal part of Sheffield where all like the cool bougie shops are out. And then we went into this guy's shop, which looked really cool. When we had a conversation about him, he asked us like what type of work we do and like why we're in Sheffield and what do you think of Sheffield so far. I told him that I like the city and I'm thinking about moving here because I like the city. It's one of my second choices. After that, we just drove home. That's my trip up to the north. So I really hope you actually enjoyed this video, guys. And if you want to see some more videos I have created and other projects which I have done, you can watch these videos here.